You know, growing it's one thing, and that's not easy, and storing it's another, and that's not easy either. Hey there, Mission Control. Well, today we got a lot of work to do. I just got done building another hoop house in the garden. Kind of boring to show that. Then I got inspired here because, see all that grass? How do we kill that grass? What's the most efficient way that I can possibly kill that grass without using chemicals? I have an answer. Stay tuned. I'll give you a hint. I'm gonna figure it out first. You think the mare? Oh yeah, she knows. She's like, booyah. What's this? A new area? Green grass? Oh yeah, nice. Ah, the gelding. Look how fat he is. That's a happy gelding right there. Happy boy. And the mule. We got it now. Lawnmowers engaged. No gasoline required. No pesticides. No sprays. Just some good old-fashioned horsepower. And cows. What are you doing? You're investigating the fence, aren't you? She's like, huh, this fence looks like something I could potentially mess with. Yeah. She is. Smart cow. You're too smart. Too smart. But they did a good job clearing it out. They even left a little deposit over there for posterity. Well, I just got done giving the animals the ultimate job. They're mowing that little area there so we don't have to use pesticides. So I know that makes you happy. Yeah. But what are you working on out here? It looks like you got a bunch of stuff done. What have you been up to?
So I've been working on a method called the square foot gardening method. So what it is you plant according to how many seeds go in each square foot. So I made this grid system for all of the beds. I have 3 more beds to do, but so far I am loving it because all you have to do is look online and see like how many kale seeds to plant per square foot, and then I just put that many in the square and it organizes it, and I'm really liking it.
It looks good, yeah.
And it looks good, yeah.
So you got basically 1 square foot in this grid here, and you just grid the whole bed, and now you know what to plant in each one.
Exactly.
Why do you like that? Well, like when you started gardening, I know you read a bunch of books. Why, tell the folks why you like this.
So Square Foot Gardening was one of the first gardening books that I came across, and I started it, but I didn't have success with it at first. But it was our first year doing gardening, and I've learned a lot. And honestly, I did this to make my life easier. It seemed like an easy way to organize things, to plant things. And then later in the season, I can do more planting.
Cool. So what you want to show the folks? That is the laziest cat. Oh my goodness, she's so fat. I call her Pussy Galore because I like James Bond.
Who are you?
My name is Pussy Galore.
I must be dreaming.
Well, you want to show them kind of the basic steps that it takes to do this?
Sure.
Okay.
Marking every foot on this side of the bed, and then I'm going to go to the other side and mark every foot as well. Now, I don't think that you have to be exact. At least that's what I'm telling myself to make myself feel better. I'm going to string some twine. Use a staple gun, Mr. Martian. Let me have it. Now we're going to go the opposite direction. The basic principle, and now I'm going to keep going.
All right, so we got a lot of stuff planted. I know you're still working on planting these over here, but why don't we show people what we have so far? So what's in this bed?
So right here we have carrots, and these amazingly are carrots that I planted either late summer or fall last year, and they overwintered, which is crazy for where we live because we live at about 2,400 feet elevation, and these beds kept it warm. Thank you, Mr. Martian, for making such awesome grow beds. And so they're growing, and carrots are actually part of the parsley family. So I've been using the greens as garnish. You can make a pesto. There's so many things that you can do. So it's been great to have those greens, and then we'll have some carrots sooner rather than later because they're already started.
And you've checked, there are actually carrots growing down there, right? Well, you don't want to pull it up. That's our food.
Put it back in there.
I don't think that works that way. Oh, no, sure it is.
But it's a carrot.
Okay, so yeah, they're growing. They're growing. All right, and on this side over here, what we got? There's some little things poking up out of the ground. What's going in there?
So these are garlic starts. You plant garlic in the fall, but you can also plant it in the spring. They won't be as big, but I thought I'd go ahead and give it a go. And you can also use the garlic scapes that come up in recipes. Those are great to use.
Awesome.
And then I wanted to point out on the carrots, I discovered yesterday that it actually says on here how many plants for a square foot garden to plant. So I thought that was so cool. I didn't even have to look it up. It was right on the seed. So this bed we have quite a few things. We have cabbage and celery and Swiss chard and spinach. And so this spinach plant is actually from last year as well. It came up, and the kale is from last year. So we're gonna leave it because it's a food source right now, but I did plant a bunch of other seeds.
Because you're coming out here, it's going to seed right now. Like this is all going to seed.
Yeah, I think it's because we haven't been watering and it's getting too warm.
Oh.
But it's still good to eat. Actually, these we've been eating like broccoli. They
are pretty tasty.
Broccoli.
Yep. And the cool thing, I shoved my hand. These are planted?
Yeah, those are.
All right, I can't shove my. And another bed that's not planted. I shoved my hand down there, and the top's dry, but down where the roots are at and everything, it's really moist and nice and warm. So these beds are doing their job. How are you organizing all this?
So I put it all in an Excel spreadsheet, and I tried to do some companion planting and what plants like each other, and then also some pollinators. So in the corners, I planted things like marigolds and nasturtiums. So those are pollinators, and some of them can even help with pests. I think nasturtiums help with pests. So I tried to plan and organize. We've switched things around so it's not exactly the way that I planted it.
Plans only good until you meet the enemy in battle. Now you got some stuff coming up over here. Are those weeds or?
I think they're weeds that came with the ready to grow mix that we got from the dirt company. But
oh, well that
it's
sucks.
only in this bed, so I'm not quite sure.
Okay. All right. So you got nasturtiums and.
I wonder if they were like carrot seeds they kind of look like carrot seeds. Maybe they've
blown over,
in
yeah.
the wind. That'd be cool.
Yeah. And that's going to get ripped up. It's just we're eating off of it right now.
Yeah, so this is a cabbage that grew, and these again are great. I've been eating a little sprouts even for lunch today. I charred some greens, so they're really tasty.
Yeah, it's amazing. You just keep getting stuff. It just keeps coming.
I know. So this, amazingly, again, we have beets that I planted, and they're coming back up, and I ate the greens today as well. We have sage. That's a perennial, so that keeps coming back, but I think we're gonna have to transplant it because we have a lot of it. And then more cabbage, and this bed is actually gonna be our potato bed, but our potato starts, we're just sent, so hopefully they'll be arriving very soon.
Yeah, potatoes, great. Gotta have potatoes, staple crop.
This bed is our kale bed. So as you can see, this is kale from last year. It's already sprouting and going to seed, but we're still eating the greens. So I just planted the little kale seeds around, and then as the kale, as we pull it up, when it's no longer good, then I'll plant more seeds. So we'll have some succession planting going on there.
What's succession planning? We've learned a lot about that. Tell us what that is.
So succession planting is planting at different times to make sure that you have a harvest all season long. But this year we decided that it was a lot of work, and the stuff that we want to overwinter and can, we can just grow all at once, and then we can can it or freeze it and have it all at once versus constantly planting throughout the season. But there are some things that are great to succession plant, like your greens that you only eat during the season, to make sure that you have them all season long. And I love arugula, so I want to make sure that I have plenty of that. These, as you can see, these sticks coming up, those are actually grapes that Mr. Martian planted. And
they have buds on them.
Mr. Martian, look.
Oh yeah,
buds.
yeah. Oh, those are nice. Okay, transplant worked. Those ones, who knows what that's going to happen there, but they have just a giant stick right now. Yeah, that's great. So we got grapes, and then I got to put the trellises up. I got to fix that irrigation line there too, but okay.
And then the rest are onions. So these little guys coming up here are onion sprouts that my awesome friend and old neighbor gave us. And then the rest I planted cauliflower, and then I planted some of Mr. Martian's favorites, Walla Walla Sweet.
Gotta have those. Gotta have those. All right, so I got one hoop house almost completed. My little PVC clips that I had, they really weren't working all that well, so we bought some. They're supposed to be here tomorrow. So this one, what's gonna be in this one here with the tarp on it right now?
I can't remember exactly what it's supposed to be, but it's our warmer weather crops. Things like our squashes and zucchini. We decided to actually plant our melons and other things that grow really viney in a totally different spot. But like your beans, things that will be harmed if we get a early frost.
Late frost in this case, yeah. It's, although I don't think that's going to happen. And this is going to be, these two are both hoop houses, so that's the same type of stuff.
Yeah.
And what do you think is going to be over here?
Well, at least one of these is going to be full of corn. We got to have corn first, right. Mr. Martian. And then we have things like radishes I want to plant, peas. I know there's more. I just can't remember it all.
Okay. All right, so we have a lot going on here. I think, man, so she had mentioned that we're gonna be moving the squash and stuff to another bed. So we actually have an old flower bed that's never really produced anything. And given the situation that we're all kind of facing, we're like, why are we wasting time and energy and money and water on a flower bed when we can grow food in it? I mean, so what makes you think that's a good idea?
The first things that come to mind are the reservations that I have, because there's no deer fence around it, and the rabbits and the pests and everything that are going to get to it. But what excites me about doing it in a whole nother bed is growing things like squash that will last a long time, especially if Mr. Martian gets a root cellar built.
No pressure.
And things that we can preserve longer for the winter season.
Yeah, and I think it's interesting, we put this yard in and do all these things that we've been working on for so long, yet the world's changed, and now it seems like having a yard really isn't that important, but what is important is growing food.
Yes.
And we keep seeing the things around us, they just keep changing, and it doesn't seem like they're headed towards a good place overall. Food security is going to be really super important for everybody, so hopefully those watching this are getting value from it, and the things that you've learned in square foot gardening and co-planning. There's lots of other YouTubers out there that know way more than we do. We encourage everyone to go out there and really spend some time figuring out how to grow your food again.
Yeah.
And store it. Growing it's one thing, and that's not easy, and storing it's another, and that's not easy either. There's a lot of work, and looking at I call them the old timers, looking at and that's a respectful term, looking at what the old timers knew. It's almost a lost art in some cases. A lot of them are passing away, have already passed away, and we don't have that skill set to turn to ask. I wish my grandpa was here, or grandma, both of them. I could say, how did you guys do this? What did you guys do? And I remember my grandma always talked about canning, and she did all the pressure cooking.
She was a great canner.
Yeah.
We would get tons of canned fish. I missed that.
Yeah. And those are all things that, we've taken for granted for so long. And we've known about it. We've wanted to do it. We've had a pressure cooker and we've had canning, but things happen. They get in your way. Life happens, and priorities are established, and you got to go do all these other things. But now with the world that we're in now, like food is, boy, it's not number one, but it's not number 5. It's somewhere there in the top 4. Security, God, listening to God and listening to Him tell us what we need to do. That's been really super helpful and important to us, and it gives us hope. And looking at our security situation, making sure that you're safe and I can take care of you and protect you and our community as well. And then food, and water and shelter and all those things. So.
And it's so much better for you when you grow your own food. You know where it came from, and you know what's in the soil, and and you're eating fresh vegetables. They didn't have to travel 500 miles to get to you.
Yeah.
You know, it's so...
A lot better.
Yeah, it's so much better.
It was cool. I'll tell you guys a quick story. So Ms. Martian and I were out working in the soil last night, and she was digging a hole, and we were putting some vines in the ground for our neighbor, and she found a grub. And I remember the very first, like, if it would have been when we first got married, it would be like, oh my goodness, look at this grub thing. And now she's like, oh, it's a grub. That means there's healthy soil. It was so cool, just how your brain changes, you know, as you start to focus on where your food comes from and what goes into it, like the bacteria and the microbes and the fungus. And a lot of people, you know, we've been trained to think like antimicrobial, antibacterial, you know, those things are actually really bad for us. But the natural bacteria, the fungus, everything that helps the decomposition of soil and bringing the nutrients back, and you know, it's just amazing, really starting to appreciate where your food comes from. So
we just watched the Back to Eden video. If you guys haven't watched that, you have to
great
go
video.
check it out.
Yep, great video.
But one of the things that stood out to me is that he was saying how cosmetically concerned that we are as Americans, and if things don't look pretty and if there's bug holes in it, we don't want it. But if you think about it, if a bug doesn't want to eat it, then we shouldn't be eating it.
Yeah.
So now, you know, when you go to the grocery store, if you see a bug has eaten a leaf, you're like, yeah.
Yeah, that's a healthy piece of leaf there. Yeah. So, well, we've enjoyed sharing this garden time with you. We still have a lot more work to do. Mrs. Martian's really been awesome. Thank you, Annie, for taking care of this. And
I just want to mention too that I am certainly not an expert, but it has been so worth it to figure this out and go along with the journey and learn as you go and ask for help and, you know, research things. And it's so rewarding to grow and cook with your own food. So if you are on the fence about growing a garden, I highly encourage you, even if it's a pot on your front porch, you seriously, like, just do it. And if you have any questions, we can do what we can to help you about, you know, seeds are hard to find right now, but we just found another seed source. So if you have any questions, we're happy to answer them and help you in any way that we can.
yeah, so leave your comments down below, and like always on the channel, you know, if you know stuff, a lot of you know way more than we do, add it in the comments so that when people watch the video, you know, I get a lot of value out of reading the comments. Sometimes I'll just let the video run and I'll scroll down and read through the comments because there's a lot of rich material in there for learning. And you know, hey, yeah, you did it that way, but I did it this way and tried a little something different. So leave your thoughts and stuff down below so people, when they watch this for posterity's sake, they can get your lessons and we can all contribute to the larger community. But I think that's going to be it for this video. You can follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and on Instagram for a little bit more up-to-date and behind-the-scene kind of stuff. If you really like what we're doing, you can help us by clicking on the link to Patreon and supporting us that way. But in the meantime, this is Mr. and Mrs. Martian, out.